Okay, let's welcome up our moderator, Amos. Let's bring up the writer-director, Burnham, and the star of the movie, Elsie Fisher.
Thank you. Hi. Hello. Fun? All right. Welcome.
Thanks for having us. Good to be here.
Yeah. Wow. This was an amazing film. Oh my gosh. What did you guys think? Yeah? Oh my gosh. So, man, I really enjoyed it. I loved all the moments. Really pulled my heartstrings, definitely. So, to start things off, I'd love to start talking about where the story came from. I think, you know, 8th grade, when I think about 8th grade, I'm not happy thinking about 8th grade. So I'm just curious, where did the story start for you?
I wanted to write about the internet in some way, I felt like, and I wanted to write about my feelings at the time, which I was very anxious, and I was sort of coming to terms with my own anxiety. So I just really set out to do something about that. And then was watching a lot of videos online, and I really love watching videos of people online that don't have any views. You know, if you search something, really, it's like we tend to talk about the internet in terms of people that get paid attention to. But the majority of the internet is people not being paid attention to, and that expression I think is just as valid and probably more interesting. So, when I stumbled on the world of these kids, you know, doing vlogs about themselves, it just felt right. It felt like I could engage with the thing honestly. And yeah, you know, it kind of ended up being a girl because I watched, you know, hundreds of videos of these kids talking about themselves. Yeah. The boys talked about Fortnite and the girls talked about their souls. So I was like, well, probably going to be a movie about a girl. But also it being a girl sort of helped me to just buffer me from projecting my own experience onto it, because I didn't want it to be nostalgic. I didn't want it to be a memory. You know, I wanted it to be sort of visceral and current.
Yes.
That's what anxiety feels like. You know, you wish you could look back on your anxiety, you know, but you can't.
Absolutely. So with YouTube, I mean, your start came from YouTube videos. So was that an inspiration for the story at all, or?
Yeah, I mean, I have a pretty deep and long relationship with the internet. I mean, what the internet asked of us back then, you know, in 2006, was very sort of shallow. It was kind of like, yeah, you got a video, you got a skit, post it online. It's like MySpace. You have a little picture of yourself and list your interests, and now it's like Instagram, Twitter. What do you look like? What do you think? What do you look like? What do you think? It's asking much deeper questions. So it's really about my relationship with the internet now more than it was as my relationship with it as a kid. You know, it's funny because we get asked about it, and it's so funny. Like, I never talked to her about my 8th grade experience. I didn't even really think about it. Really.
Really?
Not so, well, I thought about it filming, you know, like when you're at a pool party with screaming kids, you're just like, ooh. But, you know, we just talked about, like, I feel anxious. Do you feel anxious?
Yeah, what do you
think?
No, yeah, I mean, we only talked as, like, friends, basically. We never, like, discussed the movie. It was more just about making it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I just didn't want to be some like adult being like, I've been where you've been, and I'll take, because that's so lame, and you can sense that stuff.
Yeah.
Because my disconnect from her is twofold. You know, I was never a 13-year-old girl, but I was also never a 13-year-old now, and both of those things lend themselves to a specific experience that I don't think I can know.
Yeah, I think you touched on a really funny topic, which is this generational connection to social media. Because I like to think, as a 25-year-old, I get social media, I get technology, and then I look at my brother who's in high school, and I'm like, what is happening?
I feel close. Sometimes I feel closer to people 10 years older than me than I do 2 years younger than me. It really is that. Yeah, it's like sort of like the once in a lifetime, the once in a generation sort of technological advances are happening every 8 months. Mm-hmm. So the joke was kind of, maybe they are still happening once in a generation. Yeah. Generations are smaller.
So can you talk a bit about the writing process into that, and then how you came along developing such a wonderful character played beautifully by you, Elsie? Yeah. Oh. I mean, can we give it up? I was like, oh my God. Like, I mean, casting, man. But let's talk about the script, and then we'll go into that.
Yeah, the script was pretty, yeah, it just started by watching these videos of these the kids talking online and just transcribing them, every sound, you know what I mean? So I would because there's a very specific way they speak, you know, it's very inarticulate and very the script is written like to her.
There's no improv here?
No, I mean the script is but the script is written like yeah, so the thing about being yourself is wait, I'm reading this off a piece of paper. Sorry. It's not that she had to be word perfect.
Yeah, but
it was going like this is the type of expression we're going after. And to find an actor that could do that is impossible, you know. And I was worried I was going to have to make like Babe or Homeward Bound, where I just had to like trick a kid into doing a movie, and they wouldn't know the movie I was making.
It's funny that you reference animal movies and
that was the worry though, and I really didn't want to do that because I didn't want to manipulate whoever the actor was going to be, and it just wasn't the case. She came in and she's just so perfectly, reliably inarticulate as a tech. No. I mean that. No. As
such a compliment.
No, it is. It really is.
Absolutely.
As a tech, it's so much harder to do what she's doing. Instead of to go, hey, so welcome to my life. I'm going to tell you about how I went from this to that, as opposed to like, okay, perform this. Show me what you want to sound like. Show me how you're failing. Show me how you're reacting to your failing. Show me how you're worried about you're not closing the gap far. Now get bored. Now lose your train of thought. You know, and she's doing that reliably. I can show you 7 takes of her doing the things in the same spot every time. And when she came in and read, it was like, just lights on. You know, every other kid, they played the character and it felt like a confident kid pretending to be shy. And she played it like a shy kid pretending to be confident. You know, she when I watch her, I don't see Elsie playing Kayla. I see Kayla playing all the people she wants to be in every moment. And it's just a miracle. You know, it's irresponsible that we greenlit the movie before we found her. I absolutely feel that.
Oh my gosh. So, Elsie, tell us about the experience of auditioning and working with Bo on this.
It was really fun, actually. I feel like, and in my experience personally, a lot of auditions are not so fun. But I remember walking into the room, and after 2 seconds, I was just like, oh, this man is a cool man. No, I mean, so the audition process was amazing, and I got to like get to know Bo throughout the process, and then working on the film was just it's so cool.
So wait, so did you draw from your own experiences from 8th grade? I don't know which grade you're in right now, but...
Sophomore.
Hey, 10th grade.
You want to be a sophomore. So she graduated 8th grade. A week later, we started.
No.
Yeah. And then a week after we wrapped, she went to high school and she didn't get cast in her school play. So I promised her I'd do this. Mr. Donia from Thousand Oaks High School is a piece of shit.
Wow. Most people have their revenge story like 10 years down the line. You got yours like a year later. So that's amazing. So did you like rehearse with Bo? Like, did you guys have a lot of rehearsal time, or did you just kind of like dive in and make it?
For the most part, we just dove right in there. We rehearsed the scenes with Josh a bit because those are like really different from everything else Kayla does. Those are like not foreign to her, and she has, you know, she's been through the dinner scene a million times.
Right.
So we did the dinner scene a million times. Yeah, but most of it we just went straight in there, filmed it.
Oh my gosh, that is so awesome. So one thing that really struck me about the film was the score. I thought the score was very interesting. Could you talk more about the development of that?
Yeah, so I had about 5 or 6 months before we filmed where I had some time to just think about the movie and try not to overcook it in my head. So I wrote a temp score for a while that was just trying to, I wanted an electronic score and I couldn't really find stuff that sounded right. So I wrote a temp score that was bad, but it was vaguely in the sound that it should be, but I knew it wasn't right. Because I wanted it to be electronic, but electronic music can be very aggro and mechanical and sort of masculine and just not accessible. And so I stumbled on, later in the process, I stumbled on Anna Meredith, who's our composer, is a Scottish composer out of London, and she's absolutely incredible. She's a classically trained composer that's been doing electronic music on the side, and her music is just really expressive and theatrical and bold, and it makes her experience bigger and more visceral. That's why I wanted the score to make it. Sometimes in movies like this, there's a lot of like, you know, mandolins and like staccato strings, and it's like, oh, look at this cute little girl in the world. But her story is not cute and little to her. You know, it's big and meaningful. So Anna really does so much of the work of trying to sync the audience's heart rate with Kayla's, and this is like a tenth of her bag of tricks. And she should also do an incredible orchestral score, and this is the first film she's composed. So like, and you should check out her solo record. That's an electronic record. That's absolutely unbelievable. And there's a few songs from it in this.
Okay. Did you listen to any songs while you were filming? Because there were some scenes where you had, headphones in, and sometimes you're in the car, music's playing, and did you listen to music at all to help with, to better feel like the character, or no, not really?
Not so much. The only time actually in the movie where I had music playing was the dinner scene. Like there were some times when we were filming where I would actually just be listening. I couldn't hear Josh, and he'd like throw the pee, and I'd be like, "Oh God." Yeah, I didn't really listen to her music so much. Yeah. We don't really have the same. Yeah. I don't know.
A very funny story is whenever we rehearse. When I was auditioning all the kids for the role, I would do the dinner scene. I would have them plug in their headphones and listen to a song, like listen to any song and just distract yourself. 9 times out of 10, you'd hear, "How does a bastard orphan?" Like every 13-year-old girl's just blasting Hamilton 24/7. It made me laugh so much.
Oh my gosh.
I was one of the.
That's why the calendars. There's a Hamilton calendar.
Okay, because I was like, okay, I see a little cameo right over there. Yeah. So, can you talk about your experience shooting? Like, what was your favorite scene shooting that you liked?
My favorite.
Yeah, favorite day.
I don't know. I mean, every day was my favorite one, but truly, I mean, honestly,
Night shoots were brutal.
I was the only one enjoying myself. I swear to God. No, that's not true. I was having so much fun. Everyone was tired. Whatever.
No, you can be tired and have a good time.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, I liked the pool stuff was me because we had filmed all the scenes at the middle school initially, and then we went back to the pool, so I got to see all my middle school buddies again. It was really fun though. Yeah, the pool scene, and then I liked the high school too. That location was really pretty.
Yeah, that was really nice. Where'd you guys shoot?
Suffern, New York, like 90 minutes outside the city.
Okay.
But it's a testament to her performance. Like people don't think I terrified her. You know what I mean? Like, and if she had a good day on the day she was filming the pool scene, like we'd yell cut and she was laughing and jumping, having a good time. I loved the scene under the desk with Aiden when she does that scene. I remember being on that day behind the camera, in the monitor, and telling people like, this is something fucking. In my opinion, something incredible is happening. Like, because that was a scene that on paper I thought, like, no kid is gonna be able to do this, because like she has to like try and fail, and I thought I was asking way too much, and it was just like, that scene starts, with a 3-minute take, because you don't need to cut her up. Like it just was there, and it's so. I love actors. I love watching actors work. I loved watching her work, and when the production got confusing or stressful, which it often was, I could just return to the monitor and see her and be like, this is what I'm doing. I just remember all I'm doing is just servicing this person and just being a fan of her and trying to get out of her what I think is great about her, which is, very apparent and pretty easy to do.
Yeah, I think it was really strong that a lot of the film, there's long takes, and you just let the actors kind of play with each other. Was that a conversation you intentionally had with the cinematographer at all? Or?
No. I mean, like the dinner scene, that's sort of the back half of it is 3 minutes long. Like that's when they're arguing. So I totally anticipated going in and cutting coverage and ramping the scene up. But like whenever actors can pace a scene themselves, I want to get out of the way. I mean, there's nothing more exciting to me than watching actors together, and especially watching like multiple young actors in the same frame holding, like, because people just don't believe that young people can act on camera, especially like extra kids or multiple kids. But if you give them permission to be themselves, they are very qualified to play 8th graders when they're acting, like 8th graders.
Yeah, I think casting overall, just everyone from the mean girls to the principal to the rat tail guy.
The rat tail was, that scene was not in the movie, and we scouted the middle school, and that's the real band teacher, and I went I went to the band room, and he's like, let me show you the tubas, and he turned around. I was like, I'm adding a scene. and I know exactly how I'm gonna cover it. Like, and he showed up on the day though with a white shirt, and I'm like, what the money is. Like, you know why we're doing this. Yeah. I mean, he's a band teacher that constantly has his back to the audience when he's doing that, and he's a legend, absolute legend. But people think it's fake. It is not fake.
Yeah. So we got to talk about some scenes, right? So the first being that car scene. My heart was just like, oh my gosh, and you could feel it in the audience. And it was a testament to your writing, I think, because we feel both funny, like we're laughing, but we're really cringing at the same time. So if you could talk about shooting that scene, what it was like for you as an actor in that scene, and what your process was for that.
Yeah, I think it's a really testament to the actors and the performance they give. You know, both of them, I think, give very, very honest performances. And yeah, it does get sometimes weird laughter. And that's a tactic he's using. You know what I mean? A tactic he is using is to try to, it's not a big deal. It's funny. It's goofy what we're doing, you know? Yeah, it was important to me to try to, I guess, portray a type of situation that when described after the fact doesn't sound like a big deal. You can imagine her 6 months down the line, someone saying, what happened? He went in the back seat with you and touched your arm and you said no and he stopped and nothing happened. But when you actually sit with her in that moment, you know, and feel the truth of the subjective truth of it, which is the truth of it, you see that it's incredibly violating and emotionally violent. And it doesn't need to be on paper criminal to be bad. I have lots of people come to me and go, thank God that scene didn't go where I thought it was going to go. Well, it doesn't need to go there for it to be meaningful and reprehensible. Yeah, I mean, the scene itself was just trying to be honest and communicative, and I think Daniel gives a really, really brave performance in that, in terms of just giving Riley color that doesn't just put him into a box of some, you know, lacrosse bro that you've seen in the PA. You know, he's charming and actually seems a little sensitive, and maybe he's a sensitive and emotionally intelligent kid, and he's using that against her. Yeah, but it's funny, like this scene wasn't, I mean, you could talk about
yeah, filming itself was actually very, like, low-key. There were, like, 6 people in the car. I had the script in my lap.
Don't tell anybody that. Yeah, but yeah, I guess that really. But yeah, she literally, when she had her head down, she's looking at.
Honest, but not too honest.
But yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But it was seeing this scene for the first time with the crowd. We were like, whoa. I mean, we were hoping, but it's like, you know, it is. I think because of her performance, you care about her so much that something like that feels.
I mean, did you talk about it beforehand? You just kind of went in and did it and left, or?
I mean, like we approached it sensitively, and like we knew what we were doing, but we kind of just did it.
Yeah.
We went into the scene, man.
Yeah. Present, just like dive in. Yeah. No, I think what you're saying about it not being all the way, I think was very effective as an audience member, because especially with all the conversation with, you know, Me Too and sexual assault and all this, we're constantly thinking like, oh, like, what did he do? Like, what is the degree of harm? And I think what this scene does very effectively was just, you know, you don't have to go all the way physically to have such an emotional scar on someone. So that was a very well-handled scene, in my opinion.
Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, what's really terrifying to me and just engaging with kids, it's something that was strange when I was that age, but I think hasn't changed much. I think it might change because of the conversations we're having. It's like there's a lot of sex ed. There's not a lot of relationship ed. You know, you learn a lot about anatomy and how to, like, use protection, and not how to actually engage with someone as a person, what you are owed, what should be said, what shouldn't be stated, what needs to be stated in order. That's what's so terrifying to me about the scene, is that it's just one brand new thing after the other, and she's having to process the thing and react to it and part of that, I think, is totally on the culture and definitely on the education system for young people. It's so strange that you're teaching kids like birth control and not like how to be a boyfriend, how to be a girl, or, you know, how to actually engage in these situations, because I don't know, but I think it's changing. You think it's changing?
Do you think it's changing?
It wasn't when I was in school, but
yeah.
Hopefully it is. Hopefully in other areas. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's interesting is like, you know, when she's searching, you know, blowjobs on YouTube, and like the fact that, you know, today's kids are looking up that information on social media is like, oh yeah, I guess that's where you have to get that information.
Well, like you want to say shit on television, you have to go in front of Congress. Like you want to get a kid to see like pornography, they have to click yes to like, are you 18? It's crazy. It's crazy. You know, I don't think the only problem with the internet is that like it's in danger of becoming less free. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just think like, probably not a good place to play. But not popular with the young people, but yeah. I think you should get like You didn't have to get like a driver's license or anything. Yeah. But I didn't show her that stuff. She was staring at videos of like maggots and cheese. That's what I had her stare at. So she was grossed out. I didn't actually have her watch the video.
Oh my gosh. So for the other scene, the gun shooting scene, I thought was very provocative. Were you trying to say something with that scene? For some reason, when I watched that, I was like, oh wow, like it kind of brought to me like, you know, ideas of This Is America, the Childish Gambino music video, in the sense that like you just see gun, like boom out of nowhere. Was that intentional? Were you trying to say something with that scene in terms of gun violence in America? Or were you just kind of like, this is a school and they're doing, you know, drills?
I get it. Did Donald steal my idea? Yes. No. Yeah. No.
Okay, I gotta call him up.
Exactly. I mean, Columbine happened when I was in 5th grade, so it's been a part of my life. I know the conversation's definitely heated up since after the filming was done, but it's been a part of my life, and it's a real thing. Those shooting drills happen like that, and that's a subdued one. They do ones with like loud blanks, and like they do the fake blood. It's ridiculous, and it's morbid and horrifying, and also like, of course, the kids are screwing around because kids will screw around during absolutely anything, and I think it was important to sort of portray the kind of like the sort of white noise of her background. You know what I mean? That like how insane the culture is that she's skating across, just living her regular 8th grade life. You know, I'm sure people in the, you know, whatever, in the nuclear scare in that decade that I would know if I was in school more recently, the 50s, you know, like they were worried, you know, everyone was worried about the country being blown up and they were still worried about their crush across the room. So, yeah, it was mostly just trying to be like, just try to be honest. Don't try to be satirical. Don't try to be anything. And that is a real thing that happens. I know it looks satirical, but like, yeah, reality looks a little satirical right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what was your experience like since this is your first feature film, and what was it like acting in the lead of this feature film? Like, do you feel like, how was it for you process-wise? Like, do you feel like, oh man, like, let's do that again? Or you're like, no.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a lot of mixed feelings. I mean, like, I felt immense pressure right before pre-production. Like, after I got in the role, I was, like, having anxiety attacks because I'm like, oh, God, this is real.
Because your method.
Yeah. Exactly. No, but once I got on set, it was like, why was I worried? Basically was the thought through my head. Because, I mean, Bo's great. Everyone on set was great. And, like, I kind of knew the material because I had just gotten out of 8th grade. So,
boom.
Boom.
Yeah, the crew was a huge part of making it. Just all of it was just, can we make an environment for the actors and her to feel comfortable to be spontaneous and vulnerable and interesting? I mean, it is the only thing to serve is I know people picture actors being like, nothing matters more than the actor being, you know, you plan and you schedule and you go crazy to then capture a moment that's spontaneous. It's insane, and all of that is on her shoulders. So, but yeah, all the Anna and Grace and Pat and everyone. I mean, it was just she made it was like summer camp or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was super fun. I would do it again, 12th grade or 5th grade, like Lord of the Flies or something.
But you specifically being this your first feature, like how was that experience for you coming from a different background and this is your first time? Like, it
was great. I mean, like I did stand up for a long time, but I grew up doing theater and I just love collaborating with people. That's what I love to do. I told you I auditioned for the theater school here. I got in, but then I felt like the film school was going to overshadow the theater program. Other theater people?
Any theater people?
How do you feel towards the film school? Don't worry, you're not surrounded. You're dating one? Incredible. Your family sees you as the same. Okay. So you feel like total opposites in your family. You're like, you weird artsy people. That's how I feel, at least. Okay. What was I saying? Oh yeah. And I did theater for stand up for so long, and I was so tired of my own face and my own voice and having to look to myself for inspiration. I wanted to collaborate with people and not tell a story through people, tell a story with people. So it was just the most enjoyable thing I've ever done, 100%. And working with her was the, privilege of my life for sure.
And how was it like getting linked up with A24? Because that company is very good with working with filmmakers. So did they approach you? Did you approach them? Like, what was that?
I had talked to them for a while when this was just a script. I wrote the script like 3 or 4 years ago. I went to them and they said, like, if you get the money, we'll distribute it. And I didn't get the money for a long time, and then they became a production company, and then I was able to get half the money from them and half the money from IAC Films, and yeah, we got to make. But they're absolutely incredible, and just yeah, amazing. It's very intimidating to realize how much freedom they give you, because you know what I mean. You're like,
Oh, yeah.
well, because it's just like, oh, your films were just good because the people making them were good. Oh no, I thought you made them good. But yeah.
As a first-time feature filmmaker, they're like, oh yeah, you got this, and you felt like good about it.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't sure. The thing is, like Elsie said, it's like whenever I felt unqualified, over my head, nervous, a fraud, and I was like, oh, good, we're just in character. You know what I mean? Like, truly, it's like, I would tell Elsie all the time, like, if you feel nervous, you're just in character, really. Like, whenever you're nervous or feeling unsure about yourself, you're in it, and good. I'd be worried about you if you were super confident.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be worried about it. I have to say that to her.
One more
That'd be me.
question.
I wouldn't
Open it up to
you can be confident now.
you guys. But I thought what was a very awesome structure was just like the video camera and then hearing the beep, beep, beep. Was that intentional in the script, and then you like built on that? I'm just curious, like how that evolved, or that was always there.
Yeah, the beep, beep, beep is like super meaningful to me. It's truly like that sound, like truly, I can remember like MacBook when I was like whatever, and then like like doing the photo booth because that's like the big chunky white one that's like awful looking. And then yeah, I mean the videos were the first thing I wrote and was sort of the beginning of the story, because I was thinking like I was watching these videos of these kids online, whole mixture of stuff on their face, so much going on at once, and I was like, if this was a performance, it'd be incredible. And then I thought, and what's her life like? The idea of a lot of VO and voiceovers in teen movies are sort of, I don't know, it's very poet laureate-ish. They're always being, and like. I liked how it was clearly a lie what they were saying, which was so great. It'd be kids like, I'm going to teach you how to be a best friend. So to be a best friend, like you shouldn't make fun of your friend's backpack. And it's like, oh, so your best friend made fun of your backpack today. It's so, and I think it's true to all of us that like the sort of mechanisms of how to socialize are just fully visible at that age. I think they remain. We just get better at hiding them. But we're still lying. We're still presenting ourselves. We're just so slick with it, we can't see the, seams, and we think we're one whole piece. And at that age, you just kind of get to see the gears turn. Everyone's so transparent to each other. It's beautiful. It's open.
And did you film it in front of a laptop? And how was that for you? Those monologues, those video blog monologues.
They were good. Yeah,
And so you.
It's a real laptop. It's real.
Yeah,
We actually had to.
a laptop. Yeah.
You have to down-res it because the laptops are like actually recording at 1080p and are like too good. And I was like, it wasn't looking at all like I wanted it to look like, so I actually had to like make it
up a bit. Yeah.
Make it shittier. Yeah.
Awesome. So do we have any questions? Oh wow, a lot of hands. Okay, right here.
Hey, thanks for coming. I appreciate it. So the makeup of like your cast and also all the background extras feels so real. Like it feels so like not Hollywood or like polished. Can you talk about your process in like finding these people that don't look like the normal people on TV?
Yeah, I mean those were kids from that school. They were kids from that school. The kids at the pool party were kids that went to that pool party. Brooke, whose house that was, is there. I would go up to my good friend Brooke. You remember Brooke? Yeah.
Good old Brooke.
I would go up every Saturday and to this town we filmed and just meet the extras. Like hundreds of them would come in every day and I just meet them, not to select them because they were all great, just to have a conversation with them so they felt comfortable and they weren't walking onto a film set all nervous. And I'd just have a little conversation with all of them and I'd be like, what's your name? Do you have a special talent? And one girl came up and I was like, what's your name? And she said her name. I said, do you have a special talent? She goes, I have eczema. So another kid was eating a bell pepper like an apple, and it was like, how do you just get these kids in unprocessed? You know what I mean? Like truly, like that was the thing. It was like, this isn't my vision. Like you guys, you know how to be 13. Just be yourself. Like and kids like sometimes buzz the lens, and I love it. Like you know what I mean? Because it's like, who cares? I'll take that for the spontaneity of the kids. And it would be like, all right, you're in an auditorium, like yell something crazy, and some kids like LeBron James. I'm like, what? Like I have no fucking like. There are a lot of references I don't get in this movie, and that was the hope. Just really just power the kids to be authorial of their own moment. And really, even in working with the more polished actors in the audition process, though none, held a candle to her, like, you'd see kids come in and they'd be so real and nervous and sorry, I did.
Playing.
And then, like, do the scene and they become this. What? No. And it's like, where did you learn this? They learn this from, a lot of times, their parents or their acting teachers or casting directors or agents. They're encouraged to really not be themselves and present a polished version of, and suppress the chaos that makes you a kid. When you're a kid, you sound like you just drank a glass of milk and you're like, so like, it was just that, just get the kids there. But yeah, I was like, I wanted braces, I wanted all that shit.
Oh my God, those shots of the kids in the classroom with like the braces and the markers.
And I went back and she got those off. The girl with doing the thing got the braces off, so she's very excited. I was like, did your teeth feel slimy?
Oh my God.
That's a thing that happens.
Yeah.
Wow.
Any questions? Okay, you in the back.
All right, I have a question just about the script. So.
Oh, sorry. Yes, you, and then red shirt after. Sorry, that was not clear pointing. So yes, 1 and 2. Yeah. So you first, and then red. Yeah.
All right. So I just had a question about the script. Was there anything that, say, you wrote that you wish you would have had in the final project? Let's say like budget, or like you didn't have the time.
Oh no, I mean, I wrote it. No. I won't say that part. I wrote it to be filmable, but there's stuff that we cut that it should be cut because the film is just a breezy 93 or hopefully a nice 93 minutes, and we tried to just embrace it. But there are some DVD or iTunes extras that are really good. One of which is like an 8-minute magic scene that Gabe does for her after the dinner. It's just like one take of him just like doing linking rings. The movie absolutely could not sustain, but it was fun. There's also the scene of her doing which it's like a better short than it is a scene in a movie. It's like her doing the most quiet photo, and she's getting taken with another boy, and then the teachers leave, and the camera drifts in on them and just holds on them for 3 minutes as they don't say anything to each other. It was good, but once again, the movie could not hold it.
Okay, well that's a great incentive.
They'll be in there. They'll be in.
When it comes out on iTunes or whatever. But we'll definitely go in theaters, and then we'll buy it and see it.
Whatever, you know what I mean? It's all chill, whatever.
And then, yes, red shirt.
Hey, I love you. That was literally in 8th grade. It's fine, I don't care. So being introverted and anxious and working in the entertainment industry where it's very fast-paced and extroverted, how have you navigated that? Like, how do you deal with your anxiety and being introverted in an industry that forces you to like network and always be around people?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't truly like the beauty is. The horror and the beauty of it is that the culture is that as much as the industry is. Like, Hollywood and celebrity culture has been so democratized. I think we like all sense that Hollywood and celebrity was so fucked up. So our solution was like, make everyone feel that way, which is a really awful sort of thing. Oh my God, do I have actually like? Do I have an answer to this? How do you
take your time, deep breaths?
Yeah, because you just kind of try to buzz off answers. How do you? What would you say, Elsie? I'll get an answer. What would you say? Because she's in it as well.
The quick answer is I don't deal with it.
You do.
I mean,
the pitfall I fall into. I'm not saying you did, but the pitfall the salvation and obliteration of myself were two sides of the same coin, which were, I'm not unique and I'm not alone. That's actually the truth. You can believe, oh, I'm so unique in this. There's a feeling of. For me, anxiety does feel like, it feels like I'm riding a bull, and my nervous system is a bull, and I just have to hold on to it, and being in the world feels like I'm on a bull and everyone else is an equestrian, and that's not true. It really isn't. And it isn't unique. Your situation is not unique to the industry, even though it might be at odds with I think human values are at odds with the values of the industry and the culture at large. It's absolutely insane. It's wiring everyone poorly. It's rewarding no one's happy about what's happening. Our culture's a fucking piece of shit. Sorry. It's awful. The world's on fire. You know what I mean? Like, truly. So I would just say communicate it. And the trap I fell into is, oh my God, I'm just so deep and interesting, and I'm the only one feeling this way. Look around you. There's plenty of people that are also feeling this way. That was my solution, to look around and go like, you know what, maybe the experience I'm having I thought the experience I'm having was so unique to a vaguely successful comedian with anxiety. And then I looked and found that like actually an 8th grade girl feels I can find common ground and learn from her as much as I can from anybody. So just communicate it and try to be open about it. I don't know, but I'm in it with you, so I don't totally. Sorry.
All right. Right here?
Me?
Yes.
Cool. Hi, thanks for coming.
You're next.
A lot of your work in the past has dealt with like high school and adolescents, like Zach Stone and Kid and Fat Chick and this. Do you think in the future you're going to continue focusing on adolescence and coming of age, or do you think you want to do other, expand out past that, or?
Yeah, no, yeah, like the other stuff. Well, that other script wasn't made. It might get made now, but it wasn't made. So it felt like I definitely felt like I had to do this one. You know, I had to portray young people in the way I felt they weren't being portrayed, or maybe talk about the internet in the way it wasn't being portrayed. And maybe part of it is like, because I feel like the elder person of the internet, like I'm the oldest person that grew up with the internet, so like in order to look at my common experience, I had to look lower than me, you know, or younger than me. They felt like they were living my life more than I was. That's almost how I felt it. So, but as we get older, I'll want to talk about other stuff, and yeah, no, I have no idea. No, I'd love to do like a Pooh trilogy with her and just do like 12th grade and, you know, the end of it.
Yeah, sequel.
You got
Kind of a mid-boyhood kind of thing.
Yeah, let her live her life though, because the problem with Boyhood is that like he's on set every summer, so of course he becomes a photographer. It's like, yeah, because he was around cameras. Like, I wonder why this kid got interested in, the production has turned on itself.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. I love that movie. The scene where he asks his dad if magic is real is very beautiful.
Yes, beautiful. Yes?
Thank you both so much for making it. You're awesome. Can you talk a little about the role of the father, and if those are some of your projections of like what fatherhood means to you? Or?
You're talking about the meta role of the father, right? Well, first there's light. No. What fatherhood means to me. Oh boy, that's my next project. The thing is, like, for me in the writing process, the specifics of the story definitely aren't like a choice in the, like, I'm not like setting out like, all right, I want to do like a 13-year-old girl with a single father, you know what I mean? I just write what feels right, and then when things like that present themselves and they feel right, I try to be like, okay, make sure I'm like not being irresponsible with this and attending to it. But I don't know why. Looking back, I think probably it was like she doesn't have an older female presence in the house because she didn't have an older female presence when she was being written, you know what I mean? So it's like kind of a way for me to maybe give voice to my own limitation. I feel like both of them, and I am actually right between them in age. I feel like a scared kid on the internet, and I feel like an out-of-touch dude that has no idea what she's going through and wants to help her but has no real means to other than going like, keep going. So that's, and fatherhood means, what fatherhood means to me is...
Oh, okay.
I mean, truly, like, there's a lot of my mother in it. There's more of my mother in it than my father. My mother is a very attentive, loving, caring person, and we still had fights. And that was part of the point, was to portray that, you know, it doesn't need to be inherently on paper fraught to be a problem. I remember sitting across my mother and being like, I'm already disappointed in my life. Can you wipe those puppy dog eyes off here? Give me something to rebel against. I remember like thinking that because my mother was so for people like, you know, Elsie and me, who had the privilege of a very loving parent, to show that, you know, it's not all, there's still, you know, tension. And maybe tension's the point. I think kind of the point of that when you're a parent there is to be the punching bag. You know what I mean? She can't get her frustrations out at school, so let her be frustrated at you. Like, she can take it.
Yeah. Or what was it like working with the actor?
Josh is great, and he is a dad in real life, but also aside from that, he like is a dad. He's got a dad bod. No, it's great though. I mean, like, I would hang out off of set with him and my real dad. We'd get like ice cream, and it's like, wow.
Was your real dad similar to Josh at all?
Yeah, it's very similar in a weirdly realistic way. But him,
Her dad's right back there in the baseball hat. Come on, say hi, Dad. Come over. In the baseball hat. And her little brother. Come on.
Hi, it's okay. Hi.
We've yet to do that, Chris. We've never done that.
Boom.
Next question.
Hey, thank you for coming. One thing that really strikes me about this movie is we see a lot of teen movies from like a high school experience and perspective. That's kind of the genre, but we don't really. I don't think I've ever seen a middle school movie. So I was just curious, was that difficult for you having to capture a experience that hasn't really been shown? Did you have to look at certain things, and where did you draw inspiration from?
Oh, great question. Yeah, I love high school movies. I do. I always want to make a middle school movie. And I get why there are high school movies, because it's we want to remember that time. Who doesn't want to go back and remember those days? No one wants to remember middle school, which is, marketing issue. I don't know. I had felt for me, I think it's probably more now. I guess in the John Hughes era, it was that was maybe the visceral, most pure experience. Maybe even 5 years ago, most of, But for me, high schoolers now seem to be over it and blasé, and they have a 1,000-yard stare that seems that they got from maybe the war of middle school. So it just feels the culture is asking questions way, way younger of kids. So it feels that is the sort of real turning point of it. And what's incredible about, your coming of age is, I hate the term coming of age too, because it's I'm coming of age now. I'm coming of 28 or whatever, who cares? But you're still a kid. You know what I mean? In high school, you're becoming a young adult. You're not a child. In 8th grade, you still have child. There's still part of you that's a child. That's crazy. I wore Michael Jordan cologne and my body was exploding. I wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, one of the most dynamic characters I thought was Olivia, the high school friend of Kayla. Was that intentional that her real friend was in high school, or was that it just happened organically?
It just felt, it happened organically, but it felt I wanted it to be clear the movie isn't conspiring against her, because when the world feels it's conspiring just to put her in a shitty place, and it's I love Welcome to the Dollhouse, but that movie feels a little mean to me, and I want it to feel the real tragedy of life is that there is good out there and there is love to be had, and that's what makes it so high stakes. And also that the pretty high school girl can be nice and kind and also, which is just but yeah, and Emily does such a wonderful job, because on paper that character can be just very sort of just angel from heaven, and she in her body language I can see she has awkward arms, and then you can see that she maybe didn't have someone like her at that age, and she's trying to be that. She imbued her with a whole sort of backstory that.
She's great, yeah. Yeah, because I kept expecting her to be oh, when you call her, it's will she hang up? Oh, she's going to the mall. Oh, are they even gonna be there? So I thought that was very effective.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about the idea that your failures in life are that clean. You know what I mean? That it just isn't. It'd be so much easier as a kid if you were just given a swirly or shoved in a locker. It'd be so your narrative would be so much clearer. But what's happening is inside her head. It's not like she walks out into the pool party and everyone's ha ha. You know what I mean? That's not. It doesn't need to go there. Yeah. And I just think people are incredibly non-confrontational in real life. I think they're so much less confrontational than they are in movies. I think people are terrified of talking. You ever vaguely raise your voice at someone in public and your heart pounds for 5 minutes after? That's most people. You're in the line, you're excuse me, oh, you know what I mean? I think that's how life is. You know what I mean?
Oh man. All right. I'll take you right here.
So can we just talk about the character and the actor and just how you got that incredible dinner, I'm going to call it dinner scene?
Sure,
yeah.
Okay, his name is Jake Ryan, which is the character in 16 Candles. You're all too young for that, but that's a very funny thing. His real name is Jake Ryan, which is incredible. He came in to test with Elsie, and they sat down, and I was just improvise with it, do whatever you want. And he was you like tacos? And she goes, yeah. And he goes, hard shell or soft? I go, you have the part. I was you got it. And I was don't talk to each other. I said, you cannot speak to each other until the day you show up, because we have to keep, it's electric, it's incredible. And then the day they showed up, the one thing that is improvised in the film is I showed up and they were talking about Rick and Morty, and I was stop. And just save it for that. I don't know what I've never seen Rick and Morty. I heard it's chill. But just kids bonding over a show in a weird way, like doing the voices. It was, and after she saw the movie the first time, I was like, what was the hardest scene to watch? Like, for you, what was most uncomfortable? She's like, oh my God, me doing the Rick and Morty voice was absolutely the worst. Of all the horrifying, embarrassing things in the movie, the only thing she can't watch is her doing the Rick and Morty voice.
Rick and Morty, huh? That's your show?
I don't know. I mean, I like the people who make it, and I thought I'd like it, but
Yeah, the subculture. It's gonna talk.
I feel like the show would be really cool if the fandom wasn't so toxic.
She said it, folks.
Someone had to.
Yeah. Power to you. All right, right here. Yes, you. I'm looking at you. Yes.
Fantastic, thank you. What do both of you wish you had known in 8th grade that you know now?
What do we wish we'd known in 8th grade?
That you wish you had known now? Wait. No. Repeat the question.
What do you wish you had known in 8th grade that you know now?
Which unknown known would you wish you'd known? No, I get it.
I don't know. I don't know a whole lot of more stuff. That is, yeah. Okay.
Same.
No, I mean, honestly, though, like, it's cool that you're worried, but, like, everyone else is as equally worried, so, like, chill out.
Yeah, you want the joke answer? The trending stocks of Netflix. No. It's like a stupid ass answer. I don't know. I really truly believe in the butterfly effect, and I'm so grateful to be here. And I worry that if I knew anything else, I wouldn't be here. Like, that's the true answer. I like don't want to touch a hair on my head because then I'm not here. And I'm very grateful to be here. But I wish I knew what the kids around me were going through, and probably specifically what the girls were going through, or just had any empathy at all as a boy. No, really, like, I was not very self-aware. I didn't sort of like have an awakening emotionally until I was a sophomore or so. So I wish I'd been taught to commiserate and see others as, I don't know, I wish I was more
empathetic.
Yeah, less gaming, less trying to game. I just feel like my whole life I was gaming everything. It's a real bummer. And I won, baby. No, I was good. No, but really, I don't know. I just wish I don't know. I wish I hadn't dumped my girlfriend over AIM.
You were that guy?
I was that guy.
Oh my God. What was your username? What was your AIM username?
It is my bank password, so I actually can't say it.
Oh God.
Bye, lass.
All right. You in the black shirt, yes. I'm pointing at you, yes.
This movie is a dream, but we were just talking about like different perspectives and everybody coming from different places. But my question is, what is like one of the or what is the main takeaway that you want people? What do you want people to take away from this movie?
Yeah. It's fine. Don't worry about it. This whole movie's about awkwardly expressing yourself, and all of our answers are awkwardly expressing ourselves. So you're in a very safe place to not perfectly articulate a question. Don't worry. I'll give like an anti-answer. So you give an answer.
Yeah, just like, I don't know. You're not alone in feeling weird and anxious, because probably everyone has. So like, hopefully you can relate to Kayla and feel less weird and anxious about feeling weird and anxious.
Yeah, that's totally right. That's the correct answer. And I'd say, like, for me, no, really, for me, like, I just kind of want you to feel, just give you the, for me, a lot of things about the current moment, like there is a not dearth. What's the opposite of dearth? Or is it the opposite of there's a lot of commentary, way too much commentary for me. And I just want to be presented sort of the raw materials of things. And I feel like people that talk with authority on the current moment and try to give a TED talk or be pedagogical, high school, college word, I don't like that. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to, I didn't want the movie to talk at you or say anything to you. Just for me, like when she becomes a social scientist in 20 years, I'll be very happy to hear her dissertation on the internet. But like until then, or the current moment, I just feel like I wanted to just sort of take emotional inventory of the thing. And then hopefully you talk about whatever you want. But it's like it is the job of the viewer or the whatever to be able to have that conversation. I don't want to have that. I don't want to do anything other than hopefully portray this thing honestly and say, this is our honest subjective feeling. This is our honest, subjective outlook on the current moment. That's sort of it. But take away what you, you know, hopefully just like a table of fruit, and this metaphor is awful. And then you
keep going, it's fine.
Take what you want, but I don't hand you the fruit. Ugh.
Boom. That was better than I expected it would end up. And, oh man, okay, we have time for one more. Okay, I got you, girl. Yes. Yes, I'm pointing at you, girl.
I have a question for her. I was just wondering, have you worked on any other projects in your past? Like movies? Animated, maybe?
Yes, I worked on Despicable Me.
Yep. Whoop whoop.
Yeah.
She didn't even see the movie. She was in the back talking to her. That's pretty good. It's so fluffy. She's the voice of.
Stop! That's my favorite line.
But that shit's in the past. Yo, we've eclipsed that shit. Come on.
Okay, let's have a real last question. That was a great question, but all right. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Right here. Yes. Why are people so surprised when I call them? Okay, go ahead.
Very quickly, I wanted to say thank you because that car scene happened to me, like literally happened to me, and I'm sure a lot of other people in this room and in the world relate to it. So thank you for that. And then my question is, as a performer, like I'm also a performer. How was it transitioning to being behind the camera and trying to tell a story like that? Because I would love to be able to do that one day. And, you know, what was that transition like from?
What, like directing? You interested in directing
Yeah,
or something?
like taking a story and, you know, something
Yeah.
that's an 8th grade girl, it's not necessarily from your own life.
Yeah.
And, you know, going from stand-up and performing to making a film. What's
Yeah.
that like for
Yeah,
you?
and what do you perform? Do you mind me asking?
I'm an actor and a
Yeah.
singer.
I think well, just for me, I don't want to like if I talk generally in the second person about art, I sound like an idiot because I made one film. What do I know? Truly. But for me, like, it's really, really valuable if you want to be a director or anything to act and to like go on an audition, really attend to and understand what it is and what they do, I think. So that's really also like performing and making things prepares you to make things. Always. Like that it just is. It just, to go and do things prepares you. Even just to like have a sense of yourself and as an actor, a sense of your body and your embodiment and your head. All of that stuff is really, really good. Thank you. But yeah, you do it. You do it, you know? Just do, and don't be precious. Just don't be precious about failing because you should be bad. And the wonderful thing about the creative process is the best part of the creative, I do believe this, the best part of the creative process is available to everybody all of the time, right now. That actually is the truth. Like, this is really great and super flattering. The best part of this was just like getting and making it. And it wasn't like the scale that made it enjoyable. It was just writing and working with these kids. And if you love that, it is available to you. And if you don't like that part of it, get out, like leave, because then you are absolutely at the mercy of other people and other people's opinions. And you will always be partly at the mercy of that. I, of course, am. But like, that is your core, and it's available right now. And it doesn't start when you get good at it or get success. It doesn't. The thing that was, and this was a real come to Jesus thing for me with this film. Like, I enjoyed this film in the way I enjoyed doing theater when I was in 5th grade. Like, that purely. So don't pass judgment over yourself or over your process for being, I don't know, unqualified or small. It doesn't matter. It's there. Do it. It's very exciting. So good luck with it. I hope we run into each other.
Great. Well, thank you both so much for coming.
Thank you for having us.
And tell people to see the film July 15th, right? When?
13th. Yeah.
13th.
This Friday.
This Friday. Tell your friends, go see it, support it, and thank you all for coming. Have a good night.